Hello! I'm back with a brand new microphone because I got a hand-me-down Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, I believe it is called, audio deck because it fixed my headphone issue because my headphone port decided to take a shit. So, we back and with a new beautiful mic. This is a Samsung. Nope, see, I'm doing it again. Samsung Q2U XLR and technically USB microphone. Yeah, I went with it because it was really cheap on Amazon. It was $58. I'm like, yeah. It's Samsung. I mean, I know that they're a very well reputed and very well respected brand in microphones. So how does it sound? Sound good? Sound great? Sound wonderful? Hopefully. Anyway, I wanted to use this as an opportunity since I can just stand and hold it like this, you know, like properly on stage or something. Elon Musk buys Twitter. Now, you're probably like, haven't we heard this one before? Yes, you absolutely have. The problem is the fact that, well, let's see. Right, yeah, it is old news. Or was, because technically it's past tense, because it was old news because he backed out of the deal with Twitter, out of buying it, decided, nah, I'm not going to do that no more. Because he didn't like how it was going, and plus, I guess there was that court case against it, but then some sort of a high-ranking federal judge ended up reversing the choice in the original court case, and thus now it's different, old but new news, because he's officially back to now buying Twitter all over again. Good old Titter. So, as a result, we're back to talking about Elon Musk purchasing Twitter. And I'm saying Titter because I have the screenshot still there for safekeeping. I caught him for I think he had it for 45 minutes on Twitter, or maybe it was less than that. I don't even know. Initially, when the original attempt to purchase it, he had changed his bio on Twitter to simply CEO of Titter, not Twitter. Titter. Now, that could have been a mistake, or it could have been Elon being Elon and intentionally doing it because it's kind of funny and probably slightly more accurate in terms of just everybody's just a bunch of idiots. So I want to just call them tits. I don't know. I'm probably completely wrong. I thought it was funny. I loved seeing that. I'm like, that's fucking great. But he quickly changed it thereafter, me even tweeting about it, and I'm sure it did not have to do with little old me, him noticing it, because I did at him with it, I think. Yeah, anyway, different story. So that's why I'm saying Titter, even though I usually call it Twatter if I don't call it its actual name. It's not important. Anyway, so Jack Dorsey in the process, apparently, and thus he's obviously been at the works developing this for probably years, not just since Elon tried to buy it, first thing, because it's only been, I think, literally this year, 2022, that Elon has officially been now in the works to try to buy it and mentioned his interest in it. So Jack Dorsey, who is obviously the CEO and I believe the even creator and founder of Twitter, actually has clearly for at least probably a year, if not a couple of years now, been working at making another social media platform. And now it's called Blue Sky. So it's literally just Twitter, just rebranded basically, and maybe modernized. I don't know. But he's been in the workings of that. And I wanted to point that out. If he's already about to release a beta phase, which he is, he's already announced he's looking for potential closed beta testers. So obviously it proves that this Blue Sky social network, it has been in the works for years. It's a guarantee. It's at least a year, probably closer to 2 years. So this very much to me means he was already doing this in the background without Elon buying it. Now, I could be being generous by saying at least a year to 2 years, probably 2 years. I could be being generous saying that. I don't know. I'm not a coder. I'm not a software engineer. I don't know. But, of course, he has plenty of experience making Twitter from scratch, so I wouldn't be surprised if it would only take that long these days, especially with other investors, employees. It probably is like that for him. I have no real idea. So I could be being generous, or I could actually be being very stingy and not realizing it still might take, like animations still do, 4 or 5 years to develop. I want to remember when it was that Twitter went public and thus got shareholders and stakeholders. I want to say it was somewhere between 2015 and 2018. It wasn't, to me, in the grand scheme, that long ago. Even if 2018 is now almost 5 years ago, it's really not that long ago. But also almost 5 years ago. Meaning, if it was the case, he might have already decided, you know what, I'm going to create yet another potential competitor in the background, kind of offhand when I have free time. I'm going to slowly try to create a competitor to Twitter if maybe potentially I'm selling out or I get a hostile takeover via shareholders, whatever. He could have, in theory, already been developing this since that point, and thus, obviously very loosely, like not really taking it that seriously, and obviously not putting much time or resources into it over those years up until Elon, obviously, and other, more serious speculation started up about potentially buying it. I wouldn't be surprised if that's thus potentially also, and maybe he was already starting to consider developing it. Just thought it was kind of interesting that, like it died for a while because Elon said, well, no, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want him speaking black. He don't want to do it no more. I said what I said. And I did, so I don't know what to tell you. If you're gonna get mad about that, it's just my brain by default. Anyway, you don't want to do it no more. And as a result, that apparently my mom claims it was due to the court case where they said basically, nah, we're not going to let this happen. I don't trust that that's 100% true because Elon is, well, he's Elon. He's kind of predictable or predictably unpredictable, I guess, in a way. That's just Elon Musk in a nutshell. So I have a feeling he was, in the way I loosely tracked it while on Twitter, it seems to me that Elon already was kind of like, and kind of toying with like backing out of it. And he did actually say that publicly on Twitter a few times, mention and suggest certain points and things where it would say and suggest that he was already now considering backing out of it. Like he didn't like the way the deal was starting to go. He didn't like the way certain things in Twitter were actually operating. And then the court case seemed to kind of happen shortly after that, at least publicly. So I wouldn't be surprised if it had any part in it. It was very small, and I think he was already kind of like, eh. And then probably, the court case probably eventually, in the ruling that it had initially, the initial one, it probably did solidify the deal. Like, nah, I'm not going to do this deal anymore. I'm backing out. And that lasted for what? Like, the official backed out was, I think 3 months, 3 months. I think it was 3 months. And then I guess within the last month, he's gotten back to it again because I guess apparently the courts reversed the decision. So now he's buying it again. And it's officially this week, although it's Friday. And I saw this yesterday. It was news that they're saying this week he's buying Twitter. Not this following week or this next week. This week or within the week. This week. And that was Thursday. So now that today's Friday, the 28th of October, 2022, I wouldn't be surprised if that means that, and if that's legit, that he's officially the owner of Twitter within the next 36 hours.
Elon Musk turned up at Twitter with an actual kitchen sink.
But yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. So I figured, why don't I talk about that a little bit? Because, And I've actually already seen a handful of people that are like, well, a free speech platform? Thanks, Elon Musk. I don't mind if I do. Here's my new profile pic or whatever. Somebody I really respect and I really like and appreciate who actually doesn't get political, including things that really shouldn't be considered political, but technically, unfortunately, are technically sociopolitical, like free speech. But he really literally joined Twitter, I think, last night. It's Life Stephanie, which is Northwest Fishing Secrets. He joined Twitter last night. He never had one, I guess. And then he joined it because he's like, thanks, Elon Musk. I thought, well, that's interesting for somebody who normally would never publicly mention anything that direction because he's an outdoors guy and he doesn't like, causing division or whatever else in his fan base or controversy or whatever else and potentially getting demonetized or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of other people that pride themselves in free speech, like dismissing any politics. They're just very about free speech. Obviously on YouTube, there's a lot of censorship issues. Heavy. Some EU imposed on the rest of the world, which I think is so stupid, like COPPA. That was fucked. It still is fucked. And yeah, I don't know. Age gating. So like outdoors content, if you have ever watched like any outdoors content, especially people who do fishing and hunting at any point, or trapping even, and they do catch, clean, cooks, whatever, CCCs, triple Cs, catch, clean, cook, they will tell you that they have gotten demonetized so many different times because of that. Even though technically the YouTube rules explicitly state that because that's technically educational and it's also genuine and it has nothing to do with like canned hunting or any of these, like, I would even argue immoral and unjustifiable things that are absolutely terrible, it's totally allowed on their platform by their guidelines. That's what they claim. But for years, there's been an issue where they've had in their videos not only demonetized, they've actually gotten strikes for it, and or they've gotten their videos removed. And then they, if they're big enough, which a lot of the ones I watch are now, they have their own representative for YouTube. So these people are the ones who are the arbitrators. They're the middlemen. They know all the ins and outs of how YouTube works and all the rules and the algorithms and everything else. So you work with those people to figure these issues out. So like if you have a claim, or if you have a demonetization, or if you have a guideline strike given to you, or warning, or whatever else, right? You go through those people as arbitration to YouTube itself. So you go through them to sort that issue out and be able to be like, okay, well, you have now told me as my representative that, hey, this is not at all against any guidelines. In fact, this is perfectly fine. So therefore, can we get this back to being monetized? Can we get this back to being non-struck? Can we get it back online, whatever it is? Maybe they delete the video because enforce removal, because the fact that they threatened something because, oh, you have an animal that you killed via hunting or fishing, or you're filleting a fish and thus you got to get the guts out and stuff, and there's blood. Like, YouTube is so stupid with that. Google is fucking idiotic, and they're super censor heavy with that. Like 90% of the time, it doesn't matter. Like, sure, initially it'll be reversed, cool, but they'll keep getting it almost immediately, sometimes within minutes, reversed back again, reverted back to whatever the bad thing is for them and their channel and their content, for the viewers even. That's a problem, man. That is a major issue, and it sucks. But I mentioned that in relation to the Twitter thing, because again, life is an outdoors creator. So as I really respect. And so as a result, it forces you to speak on these things that people consider to be political stances, which you get shredded for on social media because free speech stuff. Well, that's extremely conservative and Republican. That's evil. You can't do that. That's anti-progressive, they claim. The other point I wanted to make with that mentioned in the YouTube thing is because of the fact that it really does force people, even if originally they're like, ew, conservative value, even though it's literally by definition liberal, as in freedom, because that's what freedom of speech and expression and choice and all that and value is. It's in the name, it's freedom. So if that's literally what liberal is. Liberal is free, liberalism is freedom. But that all went out the fucking door, especially in the last, like, what, 30 years, more than ever? And it was already going out the door when JFK got assassinated, so I don't... That's an entirely different topic for a different day. But yeah, it's forcing people to get vocal about that and take up the issue of freedom of expression and speech, because, again, it is a major problem. And it is a major issue that's affecting people, especially, again, on YouTube. And it's been affecting people, of course, on Facebook, and thus its brand, so Instagram, and obviously Twitter and everything else. It affects all of us negatively, and especially affects certain people more than others very negatively, especially as creators and who make their livings that way. Guess who? Yeah, exactly what I just made. So case in point, I'm rambling too much. I'm trying to keep on track and try not to ramble as much as I normally do. It's still kind of hard because it's so ingrained. But then I'm going to start rambling about that if I don't shut up. So